Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nur Nazira Balkis binti Muhammad Animan. Student ID 2020950983. Me and my group members Siti Akira, Nur Fitrah, Nur Shafiqah and Siti Noanis. In this video, we would like to present about application of Wakalah in Islamic banking in Malaysia.
First of all, from this topic, there are several objectives that we want to achieve. Firstly, to understand the concept of wakalah. Second, to determine whether wakalah as practiced in Islamic banking is in compliance with the principle. Third, to identify the perspective and consummation of wakalah in Malaysia. Lastly, applying the principle of wakalah contract to modern applications of Islamic banking and finance that suit current needs. Okay, let's continue to the definitions of wakalah. Wakalah literally means agency, authorization, delegation, representation, mandate, and empowerment. And technically, it is the appointment of someone to take over this appointed affair on his or her behalf for the purpose of accomplishment of a certain task. So, as we can see, wakalah refers to a contract which is a party we call muwakil authorize another party as his agent we call wakil to perform a particular task in matters that may be delegated either voluntarily or with imposition of a fee. Next, we go through the sources. The evidence of permissibility is derived from the text in Al-Quran, Hadith, and Ijma. One of the texts is, "So, send one of you with this silver coin of yours to the city, and let him look to which is the best of food, and bring you provision from it." Surah Al-Kahfi verses 19. Next, we go to Hadith. Reported by Urwah radhiyallahu anhu that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him 1 gold dinar to buy with it a sheep, but instead he managed to buy 2 sheep. He then sold one of it for 1 gold dinar and then presented the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with both sheep and 1 gold dinar that he acquired. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed for him be given blessing barakah in all his trade and transaction, and mentioned that even if he sells solid soil, he will gain profit in it. Last is ijma. The ummah had come to a consensus on the legitimacy of wakalah contract, since there is a great need for it, and individuals are also not capable of catering and handling all his or her needs, matters, and daily affairs on their own without having to resort for the help of other people. Hence, from the ijma, the jurists agree that wakalah is permissible and recommended based on ta'awun concept.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, I am Siti Noanis binti Muhammadiyah. I'm going to explain more about wakalah is divided into 2 types. Wakalah muqayyadah and wakalah mutlaqah. Wakalah muqayyadah is a representative agreement that limit or restrict the representative action based on specific condition. A limited agency or unrestricted wakalah. A wakalah contract that is not restricted to any condition except for those that are permitted in Islam. Meanwhile, wakalah mutlaqah is an appointment of representative without saying the representative is in any way without imposing any condition, limited agency or restricted wakalah. Wakalah contract that is restricted or confined with certain conditions that are legitimized by Islam, bounded by special certain or time limits. Alright, next we go to pillar of Al-Wakalah. As we can see, there is consists of 4 pillars of Al-Wakalah, namely in slide. And the first is Wakil. It is the authorized agent, representative, proxy, trustee. 2 Muwakil include authorizer, majority client, and principal. And 3 Muwakkal bih is thing or subject matter that is being instructed for all types the business deals involved. And lastly is sigoh. Sigoh is ijab, that's mean offer, and qabul, that's mean accepted.
Last but not least, conditions of wakalah. There are 4 conditions pertaining to the basis of wakalah condition. Firstly, muwakil shall authorize a specific wakil and notify him of his appointment. Second, the wakil agent to perform a particular task in matters that may be delegated either voluntarily or with imposition of fee. Third, subject matter in wakalah contract should be known to agent, and it is not permissible to delegate someone to perform unknown thing. Lastly, offer and acceptance may be expressed verbally or by appropriate documentation or by any other method accepted by customary business practice which does not contravene the Sharia principle.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Akirah binti Pandi and my matric number is 2020984659. And the next point is the application of wakalah in Islamic finance adheres to the principles of Islam. The wakalah contract in Islamic banking products need to be properly understood about how this contract should be applied in Islamic bank service product. Based on fiqh rules regarding this contract, we can find out how the wakalah contract should be applied in Islamic banking service product in order to comply with the guidance of Sharia. One of the Sharia banking products that use wakalah contract is in financing murabahah. In a clear and simple sense, the concept of murabaha bil wakalah contract transaction in Shariah banking, customer who wants to buy the necessary goods and ask the bank to buy those goods. After the bank buy the goods that customer want from the supplier, the bank return the goods by reselling them to the customer. Based on this concept, it can be seen in the murabaha bil wakalah contract consists of 2 contract or agreements, namely the agreement of the customer as the trustee for purchase of goods and promise from the bank to resell the goods by way of murabahah. Islamic banking is a business institution which has special characteristics different from conventional banking. Islamic banking users also have different requirements, especially related to concept and application wakalah in murabahah financing. Therefore, a comprehensive study is needed to bring together these 3 important concepts or principles that apply wakalah in murabahah financing in Islamic banking in accordance with Islamic standard or principles. Mechanism controlling the operation wakalah in murabahah financing and customer protection against bank financing murabahah contract application wakalah. Next is the combination of a mudarabah and wakalah contract in takaful. In takaful, there are several disadvantages in the wakalah model. To overcome this disadvantage, many modifications have been introduced to the market merging different contracts together, leading towards the hybrid model. An example of such a model is what is applied in Bahrain. The Bahrain model is the hybrid model or a mixed model whereby the model is a combination of wakalah and mudarabah. The wakalah concept is used for the underwriting account and the mudarabah concept is used for the investment account. The combination of a mudarabah and wakalah contract is aimed to avoid the disadvantage of the individual model and to share their common benefits. Based on the result of research and analysis of Wakalah contract practice in Islamic banking as stated above, prove that Wakalah contract are in compliance with Islamic principles. This is because the Wakalah contract has provided an explanation of how the Wakalah contract should be implemented in community transaction activities. In addition, the legal foundation of Wakalah activities strengthened in its application in Sharia banking and Sharia financial institution.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Fitrah binti Muhammad Jamil. Okay, in this slide, I will present about consummation of Wakalah. Okay, basically, the Wakalah contract shall be completed upon fulfillment of all obligations stipulated on the parties contracting under the Wakalah contract, which includes settlement by principle of Wakalah fee. Among the methods that can be done for the satisfaction of Wakalah payment are: number 1, the full payment amount that has been agreed by the principal. Number 2, neglect of one's right when receiving Wakalah payment in arrears by an agent. Number 3, amortization muqassah of responsibility must be between the contracting parties. And the last one, obligate to transfer the payment of fees to a third party, which is by debt transfer. Upon termination of the Wakalah contract, the contracting party will also be free from any contractual obligations under the Wakalah contract.
My name is Nur Syafiqah binti Awal Hassan, and I will continue subtopic of Wakalah application in Islamic banking. Okay. Time in a banking application occurs when a customer authorizes the bank to represent itself to perform certain service jobs. The bank and the customer specify the contract that the power of attorney must be legally valid. In its implementation in Islamic banking, the Wakalah contract has various forms in banking service, which is firstly is transfer, secondly collection, third deposit, fourth letter of credit, fifth Sharia insurance, sixth trustee, seventh Sharia mutual fund investment, and lastly Sharia current account financing. Okay, first we go to the transfer, which is transfer is service provided by banks to represent customer in transferring fund from one account to other accounts. The process begins with a customer as al-mawakil to the bank as al-wakil to carry out orders or requests to the bank to transfer a certain amount of money to someone else's account. Then the bank debits the customer account if just the transfer is from account to account. The last process is where the bank credits a certain amount of funds to the destination account. For the example situation is postal money order, which is in postal money order process, is cash is given directly from al-mawakil to al-wakil, and al-wakil give the money directly to the intended customer. While the situation of transfer money through a bank branch, al-mawakil give the money is in cash to the bank, which is al-wakil, but the bank does not given it directly to the customer who is sent, but the bank send it to the intended customer account. In situation of transfer via ATM, in this process, the delegation of money transfer is not direct to money. The money is given from al-mawakil to the bank as al-wakil. In this model, the al-mawakil customer asks the bank to debit his or her savings account, and then ask the bank to add in the target customer's account the amount of deduction on his account. Nowadays, the third process often applies, whereas the customer can make their own transfer through ATM machine. Second is collection, which is collection is a bank service activity to carry out an order from a third party in the form of collecting an amount of money for a certain person or entity in other city that is appointed by the trustee. The bank plays a role in collecting and receiving bill payment for the benefit of the customer. Next is deposit, Deposit a contract to represent the purchase of goods occurs when a person appoints another person in his place to purchase a number of goods by handing over money at full price corresponding to the price of the goods to be purchased in the contract wadi'ah. The agent, which is representative, pays a third party by using al-mawakil deposit to purchase goods. The bank deposits an amount of money for the movable property custody activity, which is administered by the bank for the benefit of the customer based on a contract. For example, the bank represents the customer, Wakalah, to buy goods. Using the Wakalah contract and the Murabahah contract can be done in principle if the goods that have been purchased through Wakalah are already the property of the bank. Next is letter of credit. Letter of credit, or LC, is a statement letter that will pay to the issue by the bank for the interest of the importer or exporter with the fulfillment of requirement in accordance with the principle of Sharia. And its implementation, Islamic LC can use contract, wakalah bil ujrah, qard, murabaha, salam or istighna, mudarabah, musyarakah, and hawalah ijarah. For LC using wakalah contract, the duties, credentials, and responsibilities of the bank should be clearly in accordance with the wish of the bank's customers. Each task performed must be in the name of the customer and must be performed by the bank. As a service, the bank will accept replacement payments based on mutual agreements. The contract ends after the task is performed and mutually agreed between the customer and the bank. Here's the two types of letter of credit, which is import Sharia and export Sharia. Okay, we go first to letter of credit, import Sharia. Import Sharia use contract wakalah bil ujrah, the definition by which the customer provides power of attorney to the bank in exchange for giving ujrah or fee. However, there are few modifications in this contract according to the situation that occurs. The wakalah bil ujrah agreement has several provisions. First, the importer must have funds with the bank at the payment price for the goods imported. Importers and banks perform wakalah bil ujrah contracts for processing import transaction document. The amount of ujrah must be agreed upon in advance and expressed in nominal terms, not in percentage terms. A letter of credit import Sharia also can be in contract wakalah bil ujrah and qard, contract wakalah bil ujrah and mudarabah, and contract wakalah bil ujrah and hiwalah. Next, letter of credit is export Sharia, which is they use contract wakalah, the division by which the bank issue the letter of the statement will pay to the exporter to facilitate export trade. However, there are some modifications in this contract according to the situation. Wakalah bil ujrah contract with the following condition. The bank manages export documents. The bank charges the LC issuing bank, which is then paid to the exporter after deducting ujrah. The amount of ujrah must be agreed upon in advance and expressed in nominal terms, not as a percentage. Letter of credit export Sharia also can be in contract wakalah bil ujrah and qard and contract wakalah bil ujrah and mudarabah. Next is trustee, which is carrying out trustee activities. In this service, the bank is entrusted with representing in interests of all bondholders or medium-term notes, both inside and outside the court regarding the exercise of right. Bondholders, according to the trustee contract, issuance requirement as well as best applicable laws and regulation. Sharia mutual fund investment. Akad wakalah has a definition in which the owner of the capital authorizes the investment managers to have the authority to invest funds from the owner of the capital. The contract between an investor and the manager investment in investment using Wakalah contract with right and relationship mechanism. Second last is Islamic insurance, which is Islamic insurance using a contract Wakalah bil Ujrah. Definition where the policyholder authorizes the insurer to save it in savings and not savings. In this model, the insurer acts as al-wakil and the policyholder as al-muwakil. The last one is Sharia current account financing. The contact for this Sharia checking account financing transaction use the Wakalah contract. The definition of where the bank is provide power of attorney to customer to make the necessary transaction.
Lastly, as conclusion of the topic Al-Wakalah, the Wakalah scheme is crucial part of Islamic social security. Individual acting as a representative who has been completely interested with the management of necessary product. To summarize the concept of Wakalah can be conclusion as follow. First, legally Wakalah refer to a contract where a person authorizes another to do content well-defined legal action on his behalf. An agent is someone who establishes a contractual and commercial relation between a principal and a third party. The fact that an agent is required to perform such activities for which the principal lack at the time experience or skill necessitated agency. 2. Wakalah is contract that is not legally binding. By mutual consent, unilateral termination discharging that the responsibility, destruction of the subject matter, and that or loss of legal ability of the contract parties, the principal or agent may withdraw at any time. And lastly, at the conclusion is Wakalah contract in banking activities are permissible in Islamic thought as long as they are based on each party willingness. For duration, each party to a contract must be aware of the Wakalah contract rules, which detail each party rights and obligation. That's all from our group. Thank you.